Come on. Come on. Come on. We're out of my ass and a primitive weapon, that is. Come on, back with us. Back. Right, come on. All right, Sonny, that's enough. Just take that in. Right.
What would you say if someone called you up out of the blue, asking you to drop everything and trek around the world, adding that you could use no modern transportation, such as an airplane, and that you must complete the entire global trip in 80 days?
You want me to what?
Like most normal people, Monty Python's Michael Palin said no.
Sorry, bye.
Then, being Michael Palin, he said yes. And so began our challenge that he follow in the fictional footsteps of Phileas Fogg, the legendary hero of Jules Verne's epic novel, Around the World in 80 Days.
What do you reckon my chances are?
I will be very surprised if you get round the world in 80 days by the way you're going. Quite honestly, I really will.
Spurred on by such encouragement, he went home to pack. And just to be on the safe side, he sought professional advice.
How do you cope when things sort of fall apart or something completely unusual happens?
I become tremendously British.
Armed with an inflatable globe, he took on a secret code name.
Jabberwocky it is, then.
And set off to brave the rigors of near-Victorian travel.
Well, I won't make you jealous.
We're vicariously transported at various times by bus, train, ferry, ancient dhow, hot air balloon, dog sled, and camel. But as always, Michael maintained his mercurial sense of humor from Europe to Egypt, India to Singapore, Tokyo to the island of Manhattan.
Hello, world.
Undaunted by the unfamiliar, he picked up garbage in Venice, puffed on a pipe in Cairo, was painted with tomato sauce at the international dateline, and snacked on a snake in Hong Kong.
Great. Lovely.
Michael entertained us from one side of the Pacific to the other. And even when we worried over what might happen to him next, he remained always a fearless, funny leader.
Went off to the loo, which is quite perilous.
Circumventing the globe in pure Palin style. Around the World in 80 Days became a hot ticket for armchair travelers everywhere. Just the sort of quality entertainment you'd expect from the Arts and Entertainment Network. But we know a good thing when we've got it. And not content to let Michael rest on the success of his 80-day feat, we've now challenged his hearty appetite for adventure again, asking him to traverse the world, this time from pole to pole.
This is it. I'm standing on the top of the world. At the North Pole.
From this isolated and rather chilling beginning, Michael embarks on a new journey. He takes us across Scandinavia, Russia, the Middle East, the whole of Africa, and half of Antarctica. Exiting the Soviet Union within hours of the coup, Michael stumbles past history in the making and makes some historical discoveries as well.
Are you the real Santa Claus?
During this intensive odyssey, which covers more than 23,000 miles in just over 5 months, Michael invites us to join him via snowmobile, icebreaker, antique train, Land Cruiser, motorboat, and big blue truck. However, on this trip, he is allowed the luxury of air travel, if you call this luxury.
Thank you very much.
With his knack for encountering the unusual, the genial Michael pans for gold in Lapland, enjoys a sauna in Finland, discovers his astrological fate in Rhodes, and is treated to homemade hospitality, Russian style. And when he's not trying to buy a camel,
How much?
or learning the steps to a kissing dance, he's likely to be trying on the local garb.
If I wear a hat like this, the mosquitoes will think I'm a lamppost.
As Michael progresses across the Mediterranean and onto the great continent of Africa, the risks of such an ambitious trip begin to get knowingly in the way.
They've said it's not safe, they won't guarantee our safety, and we just can't go.
But if at first he doesn't succeed, he tries and tries again.
Any answers on a postcard, please, to Pole, lost somewhere on the Sudan-Ethiopia border.
And if all else fails,
I think I'll go home.
drawn in by the playfulness of the local residents and awed by the beautiful serenity of the landscape, it's difficult not to relax. That is, until he hits the road.
I should go and have some back surgery immediately.
Ahead lies the equator as the journey continues south. Stops include a short stint as schoolmaster
You can see the rest of my journey, and you can also play football with it.
and visits to places called
Ngorongoro Crater.
and
Mpalungu.
and
Ujiji.
the African continent fascinates. A balloon flight over the Serengeti, the historic site where Stanley met Livingstone, the wonder of experiencing the wild. From here, the expedition faces its biggest challenge, to make it to the inhospitable South Pole.
It looks very unlikely that we're going to get there on time. Whether the vehicles will wait for us, whether they'll even be there, we don't know.
There may be more conventional guides, but when Michael Palin is leading the way, way it's impossible not to follow.
I think it's an omen. I think we should go.
More fun than a flying circus. It's Michael Palin's second nearly impossible epic traveling show.
It's going to be much more exciting, but anyway.
Pole to Pole, premiering Sunday.